It is a pitch dark night. Crossing through a deserted street, the hero walks to the very end of the lane and takes the left. He suddenly halts in his tracks, enters the gate of a house, crosses the courtyard, reaches for a door inside. He opens the door and...
Sunishthh!
Hi Rinky Di.
What are you doing? What are you writing?
Oh, this. Yeah, I'm just writing a movie review.
I love watching movies. Tell me too.
Yeah, sure. So, the hero crosses the courtyard, reaches the door of his house.
His house?
Exactly. And he opens the door and...
And what?
What else, Di? He had dinner, then went to sleep. He had office next day.
Huh? What was that, Sunishthh? I mean, it wasn't all that interesting, nor fun. No twist, or turns, or even a plot really. No ups, no downs.
Right. That's exactly what I was going to write as my review as well. Not very believable or relatable this film was. A story ought to be close to how life functions, no? And the graph of life has definitely got its fair share of ups and downs.
That's true. What an interesting observation, Sunishthh. Life is always going through something or another, just like a pendulum. Good times and some not so good times. Struggles and successes. Victories and defeats. Fall and rise.
Fall and rise. What a beautiful summation. Why don't we elaborate on this today?
Perfect. So listeners, I'm Rinky.
And I'm Sunishthh.
And we welcome you to yet another episode of
Soul Vibes.
So Sunishthh, what are your first thoughts that come to mind when I say fall and rise?
I was thinking about the words rise and fall and how they can mean so many different things in various contexts. When we hear rise, we may think of the highs of our lives, the successes, the achievements, and those blessings. Then when we hear fall, we may connect it with challenges, the struggles, the obstacles. जिसको कह सकते हैं कि when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So that's another kind of blessing.
Rightly pointed out, Sunishthh. Both are blessings, though a perception of it may vary. Like, I just had a great fall.
A great fall? I don't understand.
Well, I went to the water park and there was this ride. We were to climb 10-12 stories first. When we reached, we were put into a small little chamber. And then when we stood there all alone, suddenly the ground from our feet was wiped away and that's it. We were in free fall, falling 10-12 stories and virtually a roller coaster going through 2 loops and then being dumped into a pool of water. Oh my God, what a fall that was.
Unbelievable.
Actually, Sunishthh, I thought those were the last moments of my life and the only thing I could think then was, Almighty, if these are actually my last moments, I surrender to you.
Wow. Even at that moment, you were able to remember Nirankar.
Actually, Sunishthh, as soon as I realized that we were going to the water park, what also struck me was that we'd have to take some thrilling rides. And oh my God, it really scared me. So my thoughts went rushing to Nirankar and I thought, God, will I really be able to remember you in my most vulnerable moments? So I started practicing. And thank you, Nirankar. I was able to remember you with your blessings.
Rinky Di, I was thinking that for a pre-decided ride, you had to practice so much. But how about this unpredictable life? Maybe this is why we are constantly taught in satsang that with every breath, may I remember the name of the Lord. Because that is how much practice I shall have to face any kind of curveball which life throws my way.
Very true, Sunishthh. Practice makes anyone perfect. We have only a limited experience in our individual lives. So why not learn from our experienced panelists? May I please welcome our panelists, Prerna Yadav ji, a psychologist, Gaurav Malhotra ji, an investment editor, and Vijay Jadwani ji, an entrepreneur. Dhaninkar ji. So, my first question is to Prerna Yadav ji. Prerna ji, we often associate fall and rise with success and failure in the corporate life or in education. I'm sure a lot of people come to you during counseling sessions to discuss the same. What do you think of fall and rise, Prerna ji?
Dhanankar Rinky ji. So, as a psychologist, one of the most common problems that people talk about in my counseling sessions is conflicts in their interpersonal relationships. So, they speak of challenges in their relationships with their parents, with their siblings, with their partner, with their spouse, or even with their friends or peers or colleagues. And if you actually come to think of it, yes, as we grow older and across time, often there are a lot of conflicts, there are a lot of these rise and falls in our relationships as well. And in the recent years, there has been a change in perspective, the way we also approach them in our therapy sessions when we speak with people. So while we are also addressing challenges that people come up with, we also try and ask them to reflect on the ways in which they are building their relationships with their loved ones. So while they speak about challenges, we also ask them that, oh, could you also tell me how do you solve problems together? Could you also tell me how do you spend time together? Could you tell me one quality that you also appreciate about each other? So the reason we do this is not to maybe take their attention away from the problems, but to just help them acknowledge that their relationship is also beyond their problems. There is also a positive side to their relationship. And that just helps them feel more positive about the relationship. And that also helps them appreciate the other person and helps them form a different view of the other person.
That's insightful, Prerna ji. So relationships also go through fall and rise. But can you give us any mantra to navigate through this?
Yes, Rinky ji. So we also keep hearing about this in our satsang, in our holy congregations from saints. And this is also one of the common points in our therapy sessions. So I would like to talk about 5 points that our listeners can also benefit from. So the first thing that I often tell my clients is that when you're talking about your pain or when you're talking about your distress, use I statements. So instead of saying that you always cause me pain or you always hurt me, say I am hurt or I am in a lot of pain. So this also helps us express ourselves better. Instead of blaming the other person, we express ourselves. The second is to make a gentle request. So often we are quick to point out everything that's going wrong in the relationship. So we say that, okay, you're doing this wrong. But instead of pointing out what is going wrong, you make a gentle request and state what you need. For example, I need you to spend more time with me. I need you to help me out with all of this. I need you to share responsibilities with me. The third is listening intently. So just like we would like to be heard, or we would like our loved ones to listen to us, it is important that we also listen to them, and we listen to them patiently and calmly. The fourth is appreciate, where we appreciate the little things our loved ones do for us. Every single day, there's so much that they do for us. So it's important to acknowledge that, and it is also important to appreciate it in little ways. Number 5 is apologize. So a lot of times we make mistakes. We unintentionally, we may hurt or we may do something that may hurt the other person. So it's important to apologize. It's important to say sorry. So while going through the highs and lows, let us also try and apply these little 5 tips to maintain our relationships.
So do you think social media has an impact on our relationships too?
I wouldn't blame social media entirely for it, as it is a great tool for us to express our love towards our loved ones on important days. But at the same time, we must not forget that our life is way beyond what we do on social media or what we express on social media. Our relationships are also beyond that. So while it is okay for us to express our love on social media, we must also do that in our day-to-day life. And the highs and lows of our relationship should not be affected by what is happening on social media.
That's amazing, Prerna ji. Like relationships go through fall and rise, Gaurav ji, would you shed some light on the fall and rise in corporate life?
Sunishthh ji, life in essence is non-linear. And what I mean by that is, if we were to draw a line graph of life, it is never a straight line. So long as we appreciate that life is not a straight line, we are always prepared to deal with the ups and downs of life and also in corporate life. Indeed, business world is not immune to rise and fall. We have often seen periods of boom, and now we are talking about recession all over the world. So yes, that happens at a broad global economic level, but also at an individual level. There are so many aspects of corporate life which can depict highs and lows. Just to put that in perspective through an anecdote, there was a period in my life for about 2-3 years when I was among the top performers in the company, but I felt that the reward that came along with did not really match up. So that was a low period in my life. But then the following year I received a bonanza and it all got leveled up. So Sunishthh, all we need to do is have faith in Nirankar, which also means having faith in his timing, and continue to do our bit positively.
Indeed, there are no flaws in the master plan. And now, let's move on to our third panelist, Vijay ji. Our listeners would be amazed to know that Vijay ji has lived in 9 countries and has an exposure to diverse cultures. So Vijay ji, I'm intrigued to know, do diverse cultures view fall and rise differently?
Rinky ji, the fall and rise is the state of mind of a human being and the emotions associated with the human beings. Human beings are the same, the emotions are the same, irrespective of where we live, in which country we are. The factors that impact the fall of the emotions and the state of mind is the fear, the guilt, and the ego. And what helps in these situations of fear, guilt, and ego are the faith, patience, and the value system. So Rinky ji, while I traveled across so many countries with my family, the same issues were there of fear, guilt, ego, the fear of the unknown, the ego when there were opportunities, monetary growth, everything. But what really helped me was my faith that whatever is happening for the best, and Nirankar is doing it. And also the patience that this too shall pass during my fall time where there was so much of uncertainty, and the value system, the calmness, the humility. All these really helped me my entire journey that I lived across in so many countries. And I really thank Nirankar Satguru for all these blessings.
While we've discussed the fall and rise in our personal and professional life, is spirituality linked too? If so, do we go through fall and rise in spirituality as well?
Sunishthh, spirituality is rising above the fall and rise. In spirituality there is bhakti, but the world that we are living in, the day-to-day lives that we have, there is Maya too. और बाबा हरदेव सिंह जी महाराज ने बहुत ही सुंदर तरीके से हमें समझाया कि माया केवल वस्तु नहीं, लेकिन जो कारण और वस्तु निरंकार से, सद्गुरु से, साथ संगत से, सेवा से, सिमरन से दूर करता है, वो माया होता है। और इसलिए जिस संसार में हम जीते हैं माया के साथ साथ, वो वहाँ पर जिंदगी में उतार चढ़ाव तो होते ही रहते हैं। जरूरी हो जाता है वो एकत्व जो स्पिरिचुअलिटी हमें देती है, ये वननेस विद निरंकार, which means coexisting with Maya, however detached from it, a state of bliss, a state of Anand, just as a lotus.
That's great.
Beautiful thoughts, Ji.
And with this, we would like to thank our panelists for an insightful discussion. Thank you, Ji.
Thank you, Ji. Nirankar Ji.
Sunishthh, through this discussion, one thing that I have come to understand is that life will definitely go through a fall and rise. It's never going to be a straight line, isn't it?
That is so true, Rinky Di. Especially when I think of an example, I'm always reminded of when we go near the sea and we see all those big waves coming towards us at different speeds and different heights. We often see many people trying to surf over them by balancing their surfboards. And no matter what kind of wave it is, they always balance it out and come back to the shore. Similarly, by this discussion, I have realized how we can practically balance our life, and through these waves, we can come back to the stable shore.
Absolutely, Sunishthh. Just like they say, go with the flow and we'll have a stable life. So, I would like to present our listeners with a soulful song related to the same theme.
So listeners, let's go with the flow.
Moving forward, every moment, life is on the go. Moving forward, every moment, life is on the go. Together, moving drop by drop. This is the flow that never stops. Go with the flow, go with the flow, go with the flow. Go with the flow, go with the flow, go with the flow. There is no choice, there is no other way. What comes will go, it will not stay. There is no choice, there is no other way. What comes will go, it will not stay. Change is a constant, it will not change. Nothing is unplanned, nothing strange. Go with the flow, go with the flow, go with the flow. Go with the flow, go with the flow, go with the flow. Seasons will come and they will go. Rain and sunshine, autumn and snow. Seasons will come and they will go. Rain and sunshine, autumn and snow. Welcome them with a smile. They are to serve us all the while. Welcome them with a smile. They are to serve us all the while. Go with the flow, go with the flow, go with the flow. Go with the flow, go with the flow, go with the flow. Floating on water just like a leaf. It is so easy, it is stress-free. Floating on water just like a leaf. It is so easy, it is stress-free. Life is simple, just let it be. Acceptance is the magic key. Life is simple, just let it be. Acceptance is the magic key. Go with the flow. 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 You are the hurdle, you are the flow. You stop yourself and make yourself go. Feel the power that is in you. Witness the journey while you go. Go with the flow. 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 Go with the flow.
Sunishthh, I think these lines sum up our entire discussion.
And now to culminate, how about we summarize the takeaways from today's discussions?
Wonderful, Sunishthh. How about a toolbox to stability? I believe the first tool in this box would be acknowledge the fall or rise. That is, live your feeling and let it out completely.
The second point is communicating your feelings, being open to those you're comfortable with.
Indeed. The third tool, seek help. There is nothing more courageous than wanting to seek help.
The fourth tool could be creating a positive environment around yourself, to surround yourself with optimistic people and having a positive attitude.
Indeed. And the fifth tool is to keep trying. You'll definitely get there. Like they say, rise or fall, you must not stop doing. So this sums up our toolbox, and with the blessings of the true master, I hope our listeners can have a peek into this whenever they experience a rise or fall. And with this, we leave you with our last thought. We fall,
We break,
we fail,
but then we rise,
we heal.
we overcome. Namaskar, Dhan Nirankar.
Nirankar.